Okay, here's a quick little instructional video for the West Milwaukee Road rebuilt 2-bay hopper cars. It's going to give you a quick little overview on how these go together. Pretty straightforward. What I'm doing here now, and please excuse my hat being in the way. I'm pretty new at doing this video stuff. And I'm extremely nearsighted, so I really have to eyeball things. As you can see here, using some side cut nippers to remove supports and ends of the cars. Due to the printing process, since they're kind of freestanding out there, I have to add some supports so that they print properly without sagging or not printing at all. I do suggest using flush cut nippers on these. It reduces cleanup. You can use the style like I have there, or you can see the ones with the sea green handle in the background there. You can also use those. Here I'm just removing some supports from inside the car. Those are placed there to hold the sides vertical as it prints, so it doesn't fall out. You just bend them over and snap them off generally. Then around the top cord, just clean off the support remnants there. It's generally pretty thin, so it just pops right off. One of these days I'll have to show you how a time lapse of how these print, to get an idea on it. And after removing the remnants and the supports on the top cord, just run it over some sandpaper. Doesn't take a whole lot generally. Get it nice and flat. Now I am going through this pretty quickly. I'm not doing a super detailed job on it, just kind of showing how they go together, but they do go together pretty quickly and easily. Alright, now we have the bolsters. So you can see they come on one support platform. I generally just use my thumbnails to pop them loose like this, as you can see here. Of course, I've got extras here, so if you want to be a little more careful, I totally understand. What I suggest doing, if you're going to use nippers to cut them loose, is don't cut the supports from the part, but rather cut the support from the platform that it is on. And then you'll see that the supports will pop right off of the part. It's a very small contact area. Here we have the bolster for the brake end, which has the brake lever as well, which needs some additional supports on it. So I'm just using again some flush cut nippers here to cut those loose. Then you can pop it off the platform just like the other one. Generally, once you get the supports, if you do it this way, once you get the supports broken away from the part, if there's some still in the center, you can kind of twist the part, as you'll see me do here. Make sure you don't have a lot of supports holding it yet, though, when you do that. Parts are generally fairly durable, but you don't want to get really ham-handed with them. Pretty much like any other kit. Now you just want to make sure that you got any little remnants of the screws, your supports cleaned off the back side. We have the brake end bolster here, so make sure that you check the car and make sure you're putting that on the end with the brake wheel, the handbrake. The bolsters will fit on either end, but the proper end for the bolster that has the air brake reservoir and brake cylinder and such is the same end that has the brake wheel, the handbrake. Now we're going to put in screws to hold it in there. It's kind of a snap fit. We use the screws to make it more permanent. All of the screws other than the truck screws are the same size, so you don't have to worry about that. I made some changes to the kit so there's only one size screw. First one that you want to put in is the one towards the center of the car. You'll see that it is a cut hole so that the screw goes well down inside of it. That's part of where I was just saying that all the screws are the same size. Makes it easier for everybody. The second screw you want to put in is the one on the end of the drawbar. Just use some tweezers to pop it in there and screw it down lightly. Make sure that the screw head is flush with the drawbar. You don't want it sticking up inside the drawbar because that will snag on your coupler and won't allow it to pivot like it should. These screws don't need to be terribly tight. If the drawbar isn't fitting snug against the insole of the car, take a look and see why. Don't just crank it down tighter because it will strip out in the body. You'll also see that I'm not tapping any of these holes. I found that it's not really necessary. The screws have fairly fine threads, however, so don't over tighten them. Like I say, if it's not fitting quite right, see why, don't just try to tighten it down harder. And we've got those two screws in the I just pointed out there. Now you want to grab the coupler. I use KD 153s on these, the short shanks. So these cars have no cushion under frames under them, so the couplers do not stick out terribly far on them. You take the coupler cover. We're going to put the screw in, the one closest to the center of the car first. You'll see that there's kind of a sleeve molded into the coupler cover. That is what holds the KD coupler. It's pretty self-explanatory as you look at it, putting it together. You screw in the screw towards the bolster first. Once again, all the same size screws. Makes it nice and easy. And just snug it down. This screw that we're putting in first in the coupler cover is the one that actually carries most of the pulling force of the car through the coupler. The screw that goes down through the coupler itself, which one we normally think would be the one taking most of the force, actually just keeps the coupler cover tight and level so that the screw doesn't stick up well through the drawbar and is visible and such. It's a pretty short screw. So be careful tightening this. Do not over tighten this because it's easy to strip out. It doesn't really support anything other than just keeping the coupler cover closed tight. Now we're opening up the KD trucks to come with the cars. The trucks come with screws, but they're too long for these cars. So just pop that out. I didn't always include these with the cars. Truck screws. They're obviously different from the rest of the screws. They're larger size, so there's no way to get them confused with other ones. And just screw them down like you would normally. KD trucks are the high density, so they add weight to the car, plus they are equalized. They're very nice trucks. Alright, now I'm going to show you the stirrups. These you want to take some time with. They are very small and delicate. What I generally do is cut them free of the platform again. I'm using the regular style flush cut nippers here to do that. Once it is free, I'm clean up the supports on them. I include enough for 2 cars with each kit, so you have some spares. As we all know, stirrups on cars have a tendency to get broken in use, so there's an extra set, complete set for the car included with it. As you can see here, it's a little tedious cleaning these up, but it's not terribly bad. Anyone that super details cars or locomotives, this will be no issue at all. Just take a little time to clean it up. Now the car bodies have holes already opened up as it's printed. The holes are already there, so you don't have to drill any holes in all the stirrups. Everything on the car, the holes are already there. There's no need to drill any holes to put these kits together. Here I put a little canopy glue on there. I use canopy glue to put all these kits together so that you can actually remove parts or take them apart down the road if you need to. That's especially handy with these stirrups. Like we mentioned earlier, in normal use, it's not unusual for a stirrup to get broken. To use canopy glue, it's easy to remove the remnants and just find them. And there's, thanks for watching.